Welcome to the Book Reading and Summaries channel.
The Little Prince, a retelling one. The pilot and the drawing. When I was 6 years old, I saw a picture in a book about the jungle. It showed a boa constrictor swallowing a wild animal. Fascinated, I drew my own version, a snake that had swallowed an elephant. But when I showed it to the adults, they only saw a hat. I drew another picture, this time showing the elephant inside the snake. They told me to stop drawing and focus on geography, arithmetic, and grammar. So I gave up drawing and became a pilot. Yet whenever I met a person who seemed wise, I would show them my drawing to see if they truly understood children. Almost no one ever did. Years passed. I learned to fly planes across deserts and oceans. Then, one day, my plane broke down in the Sahara Desert. I was alone, far from civilization, with barely enough water for 8 days. That night, under the endless stars, I fell asleep on the sand. At dawn, a tiny voice woke me. "Please, draw me a sheep." I jumped up, startled. Before me stood a little boy, golden-haired, curious, and calm. He looked as if he had stepped out of a dream. "Where did you come from?" I asked. He ignored the question and repeated, "Draw me a sheep." Bewildered, I pulled out paper and pen. I had no idea what to do, so I drew the old picture of the boa constrictor. "No, no," he cried. "I don't want an elephant inside a boa. A sheep." So I drew several sheep. One too sickly, one too old, one too small. Until tired, I drew a box. "This is a box," I said. "Your sheep is inside." His eyes lit up. "That's perfect. That's just the way I wanted it." And that was how I met the Little Prince. The planet of the Little Prince. It took time for me to understand where he came from. He never answered questions directly. But bit by bit, I learned that he came from a tiny planet, no larger than a house, called asteroid B612. His planet had 3 volcanoes, 2 active, 1 extinct, and a single flower, a rose unlike any other. Every morning, he cleaned out the volcanoes and pulled up the baobab seedlings that threatened to destroy his planet. If left unchecked, the baobabs would grow huge, their roots tearing the planet apart. He loved watching sunsets. Since his planet was so small, he could see one simply by moving his chair a few steps. One day, he watched 44 sunsets in a row, just because he was sad. The more he spoke, the more I realized how lonely he was. His questions were innocent but profound. If someone loves a flower that exists only on one star among millions, it's enough to make him happy when he looks at the stars. But if the flower is gone, what then? The rose. The rose appeared one morning, growing from a seed carried from who knows where. She was beautiful, proud, and fragile. "Ah," she said softly when she first opened. "I'm just waking up. Please forgive me. My petals aren't arranged yet." The Little Prince adored her. He brought her water, shielded her with a glass dome, and protected her from the wind. But she was vain. She exaggerated her fears and made demands. "You should have listened to me," she said when he tried to help. The Little Prince grew confused and hurt. He loved her, but her vanity and pride wounded his heart. "I should not have listened to her words," he later told me. "Flowers are so contradictory." But I was too young to know how to love. And so he decided to leave his planet to explore the universe. The journey through the stars. He visited several neighboring asteroids, each inhabited by a single adult, each one absurd in his own way. On the first planet, there was a king who ruled over everything, even the stars. But his rule was meaningless, since he commanded only what was possible. "To command yourself is the hardest rule of all," said the king. The Little Prince left, realizing that power without wisdom is hollow. The second planet was home to a vain man who wanted only to be admired. "Clap your hands," he said. "Admire me." The Little Prince clapped politely but soon left, thinking, "Grown-ups are so strange." The third planet belonged to a drunkard. "Why do you drink?" asked the prince. "To forget that I'm ashamed," said the drunkard. "Ashamed of what?" "Of drinking." The prince sighed and moved on. The fourth planet had a businessman who counted stars and claimed to own them. He was too busy to enjoy them. "I own the stars because I thought of it first," he said. "But what do you do with them?" "Nothing. I just count them again." The prince thought this was as absurd as owning the air. The fifth planet was the smallest, just enough room for a lamplighter and his lamp. The lamplighter worked tirelessly, lighting and extinguishing his lamp every minute, because his planet spun so fast. "At least his work has meaning," thought the prince. "When he lights his lamp, it's as if he brings a star to life." He liked the lamplighter but couldn't stay. The planet was too small. The sixth planet belonged to a geographer who recorded mountains and seas, but never explored them. "I'm too important to go out," he said. "I rely on explorers." When the prince told him about his rose, the geographer said, "Flowers are ephemeral. They die. I only record what lasts." That word, ephemeral, stayed with the prince. His flower was ephemeral. He felt suddenly homesick. The geographer suggested he visit Earth, the largest planet of all. Arrival on Earth. When the little prince arrived on Earth, he was astonished. He expected a planet full of people, but he landed in a desert. The first creature he met was a snake, golden, silent, and dangerous. "You're small but powerful," said the prince. "I can send you back to where you came from," said the snake softly. "Anyone I touch, I send back to the earth." The prince didn't understand, but the snake smiled mysteriously. As he traveled, he found a garden filled with thousands of roses, all identical to his. He was heartbroken. "My flower told me she was unique," he whispered. "But here are 5,000 just like her. I thought I was rich, but I have only an ordinary rose, and 3 volcanoes that reach no higher than my knees." He lay in the grass and wept. The fox. Then the fox appeared, a wild creature, cautious but curious. "Play with me," said the little prince. "I can't," said the fox. "I'm not tamed." "What does that mean, tame?" "It means to establish ties, to create a bond, to become special to each other." The fox explained that before they met, he was just another fox, and the prince just another boy. But if they tamed each other, they would become unique in each other's eyes. So the prince began to visit him daily, sitting a little closer each time. By the end of the week, they had tamed each other. When the time came to say goodbye, the fox wept. "It's your own fault," said the prince gently. "Yes," said the fox. "But now I know a secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." The prince realized that his rose was unique, not because she was different, but because he had loved her and cared for her. The thousands of roses in the garden meant nothing compared to her. The railway switchman and the merchant. Continuing his journey, the prince met a railway switchman who explained how people rushed endlessly from place to place, never satisfied. "Only children know what they are looking for," the switchman said. "They waste no time." Then he met a merchant who sold pills to quench thirst. "They save 53 minutes a week," said the merchant proudly. The prince laughed. "If I had 53 minutes, I'd walk toward a spring of fresh water." The pilot and the well. And so his story led back to me. The pilot stranded in the desert. We had spent 8 days together, and our water was almost gone. The little prince looked at the stars and said quietly, "The stars are beautiful because of a flower we cannot see." That night, as we walked under the moonlight, he said, "Men set out in express trains, but they do not know what they are looking for. Yet what they seek could be found in a single rose or a drop of water." The next morning, after hours of walking, we found a well, old, hidden, with a pulley and rope. The water was cool and sweet. It felt like a miracle. "It's more than water," said the prince. "It's born of the journey, of the stars, of effort. What makes the desert beautiful is that somewhere it hides a well." The farewell. The prince grew quiet after that. He told me his body was too heavy to take back to his planet. "It's too far," he said. "I can't carry this shell." That night, we reached the spot where he had arrived a year ago. The snake was waiting. "Tonight, it will seem as if I'm dying," he said gently. "Don't be sad. It's only my body. My flower needs me." I wanted to hold him, to stop him, but he smiled. "It will look as if I'm suffering. Don't come near. It will be too quick." He bent toward the snake, and there was a flash of yellow light. His body fell softly to the sand. When I tried to find him in the morning, he was gone. The stars remember. That was 6 years ago. My plane was repaired. I returned to the world of adults. But sometimes, when I look at the stars, I hear his laughter again. He told me, "The stars mean different things to different people. For travelers, they are guides. For others, they are lights. For you, they will be laughter." And indeed, at night, the stars seem to laugh. Whenever I meet someone sad, I show them the sky and whisper, "Look up." Somewhere out there, the little prince is caring for his rose. Because what he taught me, what he taught all of us, is eternal. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. The meaning of the story. The Little Prince is not just a children's tale. It is a meditation on love, loss, and seeing the world with innocence and wonder. The adults the prince meets symbolize the absurdity of adult life. Vanity, greed, pride, and busyness. The rose represents love. Beautiful, fragile, sometimes selfish, but worth protecting. The fox teaches the deepest lesson, that love creates meaning through connection. The snake represents death, not as an end, but as a passage home. The desert and the well symbolize spiritual awakening, that what matters is often hidden beneath the surface. The story reminds us to look beyond appearances, to care deeply, and to rediscover the child within who still believes in wonder. Closing reflection. Years later, I still think of the little prince. I never found his body, and maybe that's as it should be. Somewhere, perhaps on his tiny planet, he watches sunsets with his rose, and smiles when we remember him. When I look at the stars, I hear his laughter again, bright, ringing, eternal. And I know that though he vanished from sight, he never truly left. Because love, as the little prince taught me, is invisible, but it lasts forever.